So for the first time in U.S. House history, American history, we had a speaker thrown out using the motion to vacate, which meant that it struck the Speaker Pro Tempore, acting as Speaker of the House in the absence of a Speaker until the election of the next Speaker. Well, post 9/11, we reformed the institution to say, for continuity of government purposes, the Speaker would have a list of members that would serve as Speaker if something happened to the institution. So you think of a mass casualty event, a terrorist attack, but a mass casualty event was the thought. Not a political suicide event, which is what happened in October. And so Speaker McCarthy asked me in September if I would serve as Speaker Pro Tem if the motion to vacate were successful. And I said yes. And so for a few weeks, I knew that was the likely outcome. But on October of 2023, I served as Speaker Pro Tem for 23 days. There's a lot that happened in October. The terrorist attacks in Israel. A lot of happened on the international front with national security related issues. But we also had all the eyes of the country on a broken house. And this idea that our basic system of government can't even function because of our political divide. Well, I knew for the institution, without us doing the hard work of doing what the Constitution required, which is electing the Speaker of the House, we shouldn't do anything else. And there are there's a lot of well-motivated, sincere folks that just said, we'll empower you, since you're the temporary Speaker, we'll empower you to go carry out the functions of the office. And I said no. And the reason why I said no is because I didn't think it was constitutional, number one. Number two, it would forever change the office of the speakership and make it more like the President Pro Tempore of the Senate. It would change the nature of the House and how the House functions and the powers of the House of Representatives. So while sincere people had sincere ideas here, I did not think it was right for those reasons. And so I said no. And then additional moments to try to empower me, I said no as well. Which led us through a really rough month for House Republicans. Really rough month of great leaders of this institution being ground up by their colleagues. And that's what happened in October. And we eventually got to a very good pick, which Mike Johnson has successfully served as Speaker since then, after that grinding process for House Republicans. But that moment of restraint, and that is restraint by me as an individual, I think brought stability back to the institution and has led for a better rest of the Congress. And I think the power of that moment will be seen in coming Congresses, that we actually did keep the institutional powers still here in the House.
What was the impact on you?
Oh, it was a tough month. My kids are fantastic. My wife and children are here in DC, so they got to experience part of this with me. And I knew after the first night, I've rarely had sleepless nights here in my 20 years. Sleepless nights about work, about policy, about rarely. But I had a sleepless night the first night. And
do you remember what you were thinking that night?
I know exactly what I was thinking. The push and pull was trying to motivate me to help different groups within the Republican conference for their objectives. And there are offers, enticements for me to positions and various things to try to move me to help someone. And what I decided was the motivation there was because they saw me as ambitious. They saw me as wanting. And I had to firmly say no. And if I did that, all the other decisions would be easier. But if you didn't get that first decision right, then you're going to be making just deeply wrought individual decisions. I had to make the one fundamental decision that I wanted for nothing. I wanted nothing out of serving as Speaker Pro Tem. Not a bill, not a job, not something in the future, nothing. And once I made that decision, everything else was easy. The next 22 days were easy. Not that they weren't stressful moments. We didn't expect to go through every iteration of choice before we landed on somebody who unified Republicans. We didn't think it was going to take 23 days. But after I made that first decision, it made it so much easier. I didn't want anything. You couldn't offer me anything. You couldn't make me anything. I want to go back and I want to chair the Financial Services Committee. I want to try to get every bit of policy I can possibly get done. That's what I want to do. Now, at the end of the day, I did get two things out of it. I got a wooden plaque that says Speaker Pro Tem Patrick McHenry, and I got a gavel, the ceremonial gavel that I wrapped on that first day. So one's in a shadow box, the other's in a box, and those are my two keepsakes for that little bit of quirk that might be a Jeopardy question one day.
You rapped hard with that gavel.
I didn't say I wasn't unemotional about it. Kevin McCarthy is a dear friend of mine, and what happened to him was completely undeserved. He'd seen success after success in 2023. He kept all of his pledges from opening week and performed well. And so the outcome didn't match the performance. And I thought, this is just unjust, not right. And in that moment, that emotion just bubbled up in me.
Anger?
Anger, yes, anger.